jungle. Who wants the smoke? I didn't think so. Use a joke, about to get your ankles broke. Chasing C notes. Chasing C notes. Welcome to the jungle. Who wants the smoke? I ain't think so. Use a joke, about to get your ankles broke. Chasing C notes. Dynasty.
Welcome to Chasing C Notes, a podcast. I'm your co-host, Sarek, and I'm always joined by my co-host, Larry. What's going on, Larry?
What's going on, Zeke? Let's do this.
Let's do this. This is episode 21, season 2. So if you want to listen to some other episodes, they're out there. But we're going to talk about the Boston Celtics and all things NBA. We're going to have on the agenda NBA news. We're going to have our March preview, our April predictions. We're going to have our power rankings. We're going to have our stuck up or stuck down. And then, of course, we're going to end up with the Tommy points. So, Larry, overall, how are you feeling about this season? Are you worried? Are you just about even with what's going on? Like, where are you right now?
I'm just anxious for the playoffs to start. I mean, all this is just window dressing at this point. You know, a couple of the teams still have to, make some moves, which will change, what we see in the playoffs. But, I'm the regular season. Let's go. Let's move into the playoffs. Let's see what's going on. Let's see some matchups. And that's what I'm looking for right now. So,
yeah, I'm ready to go too. I know that there's only we're recording this Saturday morning, and last night the Celtics just beat the Suns. So there's about 8 games left of the season. So let's just get it over with. Let's just keep that number 2, and let's bring on the what is it? We're playing the 7th seed right now, because Cleveland are the 8th.
We don't know who that will be because of the play-in tournament. But whoever it is, it's not going to be an issue. But let's get going. We got 5 games left, and 2 of those games against Charlotte, 1 against Washington. So right now we're just focused on just trying to gear up. We don't really have any competition except for maybe the Knicks. Maybe that can push us a little bit and get us fine-tuned. But other than that, we're ready for some competition.
Yeah. I like what Jason Tatum said the other day. Like, we're ready for war. We just got to be prepared for war. So, Larry, let's go to NBA news, and let's start off. This happened a week and a half ago. Jenkins fired from Memphis. And I know that it's been there's a lot of rumors floating around, but what do you think happened? What's your estimation of why, with 10 games left in the season, they just got rid of their coach, which doesn't happen often. Usually, if you don't like your coach, you wait until the season's over to fire him. So what happened? Tell me.
It had to be a locker room situation. He must have just lost the entire locker room, because Memphis, I know they were slumping during that time frame, but there's been a lot of teams that have been in slumps and bounced back. So it must have been that he just lost control of the locker room to a point where the players were not respecting him, the players were not working for him, and that's got to be the only thing I can think of is why they would do it at that time. It is what it is, I guess. I still don't think Memphis has enough to get over the hump. They do need a coach now, and they do need another player to get to that threshold.
So do you think that Memphis makes it into the playoff, or you think that they just, because the Western Conference, everyone is tight. Everyone is 1 or 2 games separate each other. So do you think that they make the playoffs, or do you think that it's all downhill from here?
I believe that Memphis will make the playoffs. I don't know for sure if they will advance, because right now they're in the 8th seed, so they got to play OKC. So for me, saying they're going to advance is it's unlikely. Even if they jump up to the 7th seed, they would play in Houston, which would be more of a matchup for them. But I still think Houston would win that, because Houston seems like they got themselves back together after this slump.
Yeah, and listen, I'll be honest with you. Like, Jan Morant, and I'm stepping over my stuck down here, but can you win even if they happen to make the playoffs? Are they just one and done? Are they going to be bounced off in the first round?
Definitely a first round elimination based on where they're at. The only team on here I think they can actually beat if they get a chance to match up with them is Minnesota. And it's only because Minnesota's had their struggles this year and they have their slumps. But Minnesota's in the 6th spot and Memphis is in the 8th spot. So I can't see them facing anyone that they can actually take out. So it's just going to be maybe a sweep or maybe they'll lose in 5 games.
Yeah, and when I was watching, and we'll get to the road victories for the Celtics, but when I was watching that game against Memphis, Ja Morant he's terrible at shooting threes. I don't know why he kept shooting. I'm like, dude, your game is taking people to the hole. And for some reason, he kept on shooting threes, and nobody else on the team could compete with the Celtics shooting threes. So I was like, this game is... They made it, I think that they got it down to like 6 or 7 points, but the Celtics pulled away, and I was just like, you can't get in an offensive matchup with the Celtics and try to beat them that way. You have to play defense, and like you said, that interim coach that they have, I think he's over his head. He doesn't know what to do. So yeah, this is, even if they make the playoffs, I agree with you, this is a one and done deal. No, I don't think they can beat anyone in the Western Conference. I think most of their victories come against teams that with a terrible record. So yeah, Memphis. If I was a Memphis fan, I would be very, very disappointed. Team.
Definitely.
Larry, 3-point record for the NBA for the Boston Celtics. It seems like it is a big deal, but at the same time, it's not, because the last 3 years, I feel like this team lives by the 3-point. So it's like, yes, I'm glad that they did it, but when somebody mentioned that the average threes per game is something like 53 threes a game. But is this a record that they should be proud of? Or like, what's your thoughts on that, Larry?
I mean, only time can tell. I mean, when you think about the 3, yes, 3 is more than 2, but when you think about the fact that if a player's shooting a 3, the defender is not really moving around, and the last thing you want is for your defenders to have any kind of energy and not get tired. So moving the ball around, shooting a 3, I like that part because you're making the players move. But, just coming up and shooting threes, that's the part that I don't like. So when they're moving the ball around and they're making the defense work, I'm okay with it. I think we matched it up to like when the NFL, like when they score really fast. Yes, you score really fast, but now you got your defense back on the field.
Yeah, I agree. I mean, the way that the team is constructed, it is definitely meant for. I mean, you got a 7-footer shooting 3-pointers. You got Al Horford shooting 3-pointers. Everyone on the team basically is shooting 3-pointers. So, like you mentioned, when they're moving the ball around, it's a thing of beauty. When they're missing those threes, they still keep taking them. I feel like they don't get discouraged because they basically play the numbers game. They're like, eventually these threes are gonna go down. So listen, I am ecstatic that they were able to do that, but it's kind of shows like that this team kind of lives by the 3-point, right?
Definitely.
I mean, but until the teams that know how to guard this 3-pointers, which they haven't figured out, at least they were the world champions, so people haven't figured it out yet. So listen, I'm glad for the team. I'm glad that they did it, but there's a bigger goal in mind, what I'm trying to get at. Larry, Derek White holds a single season record for making threes. Is it shooting or making threes? Making threes, right?
Making threes. Making
threes for the Boston Celtics. Are you happy for him?
Yeah, Wichita held that record for a while. That lets you know.
Isaiah Thomas had that for a while.
IT's been doing his thing. It was an amazing run he had with the Tatum came close a couple of times knocking it off, but obviously Tatum's in the top 5 a few years for that too. But yeah, it definitely makes you, wonder. Then what's the record for threes? Is that something that Curry has, or is that something that Klay Thompson has? Who has the record, and how far is White from reaching that?
Oh, I know Curry just broke the record this year because I watched a game where Reggie Miller attended and was like, "Oh, you got the record." I think Ray Allen was there too, because I think he goes 1, 2, and 3. But Curry by miles, he has the record. But the fact that Derek White, who basically Brad Stevens traded for him, San Antonio did not want him because they were rebuilding mode, right? So they traded Derek White. This is great. He got the extension last year. Another thing, this dude is just born to be a Celtic. So I'm happy for him. He did his thing. And speaking of Isaiah Thomas, IT, every time I see an interview about him, he's always on there going, I can still play. He's always saying, if they call me up, I can still play. And I think he's at the G League right now, right?
Yeah, yes, he is. Yes, but he gets called up every now and then and does his thing. Injury hit him when it shouldn't have. And I think, I still love his Celtics glory days. Yes, I see him on other teams, but it just doesn't feel right. When he came in from Phoenix, and funny, we just played Phoenix, it was a huge change for us, and it kind of catapulted both Brad Stevens and IT.
Yeah, I think he does like 10-day contracts here and there, but then he gets sent down. I don't know if he's eventually will come back. Whether they'll do like a video tribute to him, but he was a man when he was a Celtic. He was definitely the man. I remember he played a game on the same day or the day after his sister passed away. The dude was a trooper. He was a trooper. All right, Larry, let's look at March really quickly because you had a team winning all March games, going 15-0. I had them as 12-3. They ended up right in the middle, Larry. They went 14-1. So you were one game off. That is stupendous. Should we be worried that they couldn't beat OKC?
Oh, most definitely. I mean, OKC right now is the only team that can keep us from getting that chip, and we definitely need to figure that out sooner than later. I people will push us, but I think we can get Cleveland, and then it's going to be between OKC. I think they just put it down as who's been the best at keeping opponents from hitting field goals. OKC was number 1, Boston was number 2, Cleveland was number 3, and I think number 4 was Memphis. So that kind of let me know that OKC is still the top team, and Boston is right behind trailing.
Yeah, I agree. I think it's not concerning because it was one game. It wasn't a series, so to speak. But SGA will get the MVP. He deserves it. He's been outstanding this year, so props to him. I see a lot of teams though doubling up OKC, especially SGA, making them give up the ball. So I want to see who steps up for OKC and be that number 2. I know Jay Williams kind of taking up that mantle, but I want to see it in action. I want to see it in a series. So again, playoffs, when the playoffs start, it's gonna determine how they do it. Let's talk about April. What is your prediction for April, Larry?
For April, I think I still had them going undefeated. I thought they would just continue to ride that wave. Miami taught me otherwise, and so now they already have one L. Yes, they won against Phoenix, and yes, they have Washington and Charlotte twice, but they do have Orlando and New York, and we don't know how the rotation will be, who's going to keep playing. these games that are meaningless because they got the 2 seed on lock. So I do see them trying to rest some players. So they may end up just like 5-2 or even 4-3 at this point.
Yeah, that's my thought. That's how I was thinking as well, Larry. I didn't update my predictions. I have them at 6-1, and they already lost, as you mentioned, to Miami, which I'm glad that they lost to Miami because it was kind of like a wake-up call. Like, hey, I know you guys are road warriors, but at home you gotta protect home. You gotta protect your home headquarters, whatever it takes. I still have them losing to Orlando, even though Orlando it's a mess right now. But the fact that Banchero is back and all the other players, it's kind of like they're kind of starting over now. But I have them going 6-1. If they happen to win that Orlando game, fine. But like you mentioned, I think they're gonna rest up players. We're gonna see a lot of bench players in these final games. You know, Baylor. We're gonna see Craig. I guess Tillman. I guess. Oh God, please don't let that happen. And then Craig. I think we're gonna see basically all their bench players get some play time. But then the teams that they're gonna go against, Charlotte. They're gonna end up with Charlotte back-to-back games basically. Charlotte is basically so young, and they just lost Ball, right? For the season, I think.
Yeah.
So the competition is not really going to be there. So I fully expect even our bench players to be better than these teams. New York Knicks, I fully predict, because that could be a playoff matchup. So I fully predict that all starters are going to be available for that game. Larry, who is in your power ranking?
Power ranking, obviously, you got OKC at 1, Cleveland 2, Boston at 3. Houston moved up to 4 based on their run they just recently did. I put Golden State above. I think Denver just lost. They should have won. So I put Golden State above Denver. And then got New York next. Lakers a little bit over at LA the Clippers. And then I put Minnesota, put them at the 10th spot, but I changed it to the East and did Indiana.
Oh, I see what you mean. So Indiana to me is very interested because I feel like they're a good team, but they're playing in a bad conference. So it makes them seem like extra good. That's why I didn't put it in my top 10, because I feel like it could be ballooned a little bit more than it should be. So anyways, my power ranking, I have OKC, Cleveland, Boston. I have Denver at number 4. I have Houston at number 5. The Knicks at 6. I have the Clippers at 7. Lakers at 8. Even though they're kind of, to me, they're interchangeable, but I still like the Clippers more, especially if they're healthy. Then I have Golden State at 9, and I have Minnesota at 10. So really, if you look at my list, I only have 4 teams from the Eastern Conference. And I don't want to overstep on the next segment, but I like Detroit to kind of rustle things up a little bit. But that is our power ranking. Larry, let's go into stock up, stock down. Who do you have a stock up?
I put Houston for my stock up. Again, they were number 2 in the West, and they went through a slump, and I think they dropped all the way to 6 or 7, and then they found a way to bounce back, and now they're back in the 2 spot and playing some good basketball. So I put them up for stock up. Again, that's just about coaching and not losing your team like Memphis did. And then I had to give props to Detroit. Detroit's been playing really great basketball, beating some teams that they couldn't even touch last year. They're actually in 6th, I think. No, they're actually in the 5th spot. They actually went over Milwaukee and they can actually catch Indiana if they wanted to. So I really think they really well. They almost got my number 10 spot for power rankings, but I switched and put Indiana in there. So I want to give them props for them just playing really great basketball. I saw that happen earlier, and they just kept on continuing. And then I put JB down for stock up. I saw him in his bag last night, shooting threes from half court. So I put JB in there because if JB's playing like that, we are in good hands.
Yeah, I mean, I like the new hairstyle. I like the fact that he has a lot more energy. Let's
eat it.
Let's go food. Let's go right. Food, right? Food and energy. So yeah, listen, I respect the fact that he went on a fasting for Ramadan, but I want to see more from JB. I don't want to be held by last night's game where he was epic. I want to see some consistency. For my stock up, I have Detroit for the same things that you just talked about. JB Bickerstaff really has this team focused. I feel like they have a mantra now. It's like, hey, we're the bad boys of Detroit. We're here. We're like a new version. I like that. I like the fact that every game Stewart might fight, might not. I like that too. So give it up to Detroit. They're doing their thing. My second stock up is Baylor. I can't even pronounce the last name, so I just said Baylor S. He's a rookie. He's getting playing time. He's actually putting up points. Props to Brad Stevens, because who knew that Baylor had this in him? He's a lefty like my brother, so give it up to Baylor. And then my third stock up is I have KP. He has really impressed me during these games, averaging in the 20s, blocking, rebounding, playing defense when he has to. This dude, I'm really impressed. And he's like, let's be honest, he's the third scorer on the team. I know we got Derek White, but if KP has it going on, like you said with JB, this team is unstoppable. Larry, who is in your stock down?
All right, my stock down, I have the Washington Wizards, who just, haven't showed anything. It got some good players on their team, and they can definitely make a good run next year, but they just have not figured out a way to put it together. Bad coaching, players that don't know their roles. And then Phoenix I have down. I know they had an issue with Beal, but my issue with Phoenix is really Devin Booker. Like, Devin, if you had showed up like you showed up last night, Phoenix had a really good shot, especially when they had Durant. And Phoenix has just been so inconsistent. And then that goes back down to my last stock down, which is Devin Booker. And I just want to see something. I don't know, maybe Olympics wore him out. I don't know what it was, but he just hasn't been the Devin Booker that we know. And they just hurt Phoenix's chance, especially being in the West, to do anything. And at this point, I don't even think they'll make the playoffs.
It's disappointing because I think Phoenix, I think they got like a guard, a real point guard to bring up the ball and just try and use Devin Booker at just strictly scoring. But then, I think in the telecast, somebody said, this year Devin Booker assists are up. So he's had the ball, even though there's a point guard on the team. Is their coach overrated? I don't know. You can't blame injuries, because I know Beal is in and out of the lineup, but, Durant is still there, even though he didn't play last night. I think he's injured. I don't know. So my stock down is all teams that disappoint me all year. And I'm starting with Memphis because of the whole Ja Morant thing, is because of the whole hey, we're just going to get rid of the coach because we feel like it. Okay, but there's 10 games to go. What the heck? Philadelphia, you can count how many times that just disappointed, whether it's, whether it's George Paul, whether it's Maxey, who was shut it down for the rest of the year. This is just a terrible team, and I wonder if it's time to blow it up. I just don't know. And then my third team is New Orleans, the Pelicans. Like, you have Zion, you have McCollum. Like, why are you not even in the playoff? Just trying to compete. So all three of these teams are just a huge letdown for me, especially Philadelphia, because when you think about Celtics, you think about rivalry. Philadelphia is right there, and we totally forgot to talk about the documentary, Larry. But when I see the episodes, it's like mostly Philadelphia it's involved. But now it's like a shell of themselves. I don't know. It's, if I was a Sixers fan, I would be so angry right now. So angry.
Definitely.
Larry, who are you giving your Tommy points to?
I am giving my Tommy points to Shireman. I had to look up how to spell his last name, and hopefully I'm pronouncing it right.
No, if it sounds right.
Baylor Shireman has come out and gave us a bench that we were looking for. We didn't have any fear in our bench other than Pritchard. And so I appreciate that. Now when he's on the court, they actually have to look for him. So that's really good. We've been trying to find that bench for a while. All we had were our big men stepping up, our Cornets and our K's. But now we have Pritchard and we have Shireman that are knocking down threes and making the team kind of work. I don't know how much time he'll get in playoffs, but finally we got a good flow here, even though we were both upset that they let go one guy in the beginning of the year. I think it was Walker, right?
Yeah.
And thought that he could have been a good fit for our bench. So we finally got that one person we were missing. So hats out to him. But he gets my time points for coming in and shooting those threes and being a little bit more consistent, not just doing it for one game.
Yeah, I agree. I think he's definitely taken some of Sam Hauser's minutes, because sometimes you don't know what you're getting from Sam Hauser when he comes in. Like, is he going to be a lights out shooter, or is he just going to struggle, especially on the road? I haven't looked at his splits, but he's just not very consistent. At least with Sherman, or I'm going to just say Baylor, out of respect. At least with him, you get the 3-point shooting, you get the passing, you get some kind of defense. I don't think you're getting that from Sam Hauser. So big ups to Baylor. My Tommy points, I'm gonna give it up to Drew Holiday, because during March and even some of February, when JB didn't have it, there was a lot of games where Drew Holiday just stepped up. Whether it was, definitely on offense, but he just played defense. He just rebounded. There were some games where he had a 15-point, 20-point game, and you were like, it almost feel like he knew that he had to step up. And I'm not saying that Derek White didn't do his thing. He definitely did his thing. But when I look at this team, I appreciate the consistency, and Drew Holiday was like very constant in the games that he played. I know there was a couple of games where he rested, but the games that he played, it looked like JB didn't have it, and he would just be like, okay, fine, I'm just gonna do it. I'm just gonna go after loose balls, get offensive rebounds, put it back up. So I'm going to give it up to Drew Holiday for my Tommy points. Larry, before we end this episode, do you have anything to tell the Boston Celtics fans out there?
Keep watching the documentary that we have going. It's really, really good Boston history. I watched another episode last night, and it's amazing. 5 more games, and we are in playoff mode. And we're going to do this thing. We're we're going to play a scrap team in the beginning, but we're going to sharpen up. We're going to do our thing. I think we lost 3-4 games the last year in the opening rounds, like one game, and then we swept Indiana. And so, we're gonna sharpen up. We're gonna get tight. We're obviously gonna shoot a lot of threes. We might even break that 33 game record. Back to housekeeping. Yeah, Steph Curry does own the record at 402. And I think right now Beasley has 298. So I think he's the top right now for this year. And that's who Pritchard has to compete with. But keep doing your thing, Celtics fans. We are ready, and we're gonna come back. We're gonna get this chip.
Who's the last six man for the Celtics that won it? Was it that dude that plays for Portland now? I forget his name.
I think it was. Yeah, I think it was. I can't think of his name either. I didn't want him to leave either, but there was a locker room situation, so that's why he had to go. And
he had to go, but
fighting coach and all that. But he did really well. But we have, we got a lot of six. Celtics have a lot of six men. We do our thing. I know Pritchard is close, and I think that Beasley is right there. So
I mean, Pritchard is a lock-in. I think I saw the odds are like 1,400 to 1 for him to win it. So I think he's a lock-in unless, of course, he gets injured or something like that. But I think he's gonna win it. The fact that he has a record for most three-pointers coming off the bench, it's something ridiculous. So, yeah, keep doing the thing. I know when we do episode number 22, we're going to talk about round one. We should know who the matchup is by then. And we might, Larry, have some guests like we did last year. So let me confirm, and then, maybe 3-4 people on the podcast. So I just want no injuries for the rest of the April. I want our starters rested. I know Joe, it's all about, he doesn't care about awards, he just wants championships. I think, did you see that quote where he was like, "Oh, you won manager of the month," and he was like, "That is so stupid." He just doesn't care for that stuff. And you know what? I appreciate him. I appreciate him for not even caring about that.
Definitely.
All right, Larry. So have a great weekend. We'll talk again in a couple of weeks. Keep watching the game. And what I say peace.
Peace.
Hi, guys. Thank you for listening to this episode, Chasing Dino's podcast. If you have any concerns or questions, feel free to email us at simsportsmedia@gmail.com. And please subscribe to this channel, this page, whatever it is, platform that you listen. Peace.